Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's juicier than a bowl of ripe peaches: relationships. We're talking about the not-so-fun stuff, the things that make you go, is my partner hiding something? Sometimes there are subtle signs, little red flags, that might indicate something's a little off. So if you're ready to put on your detective hats and learn about the red flags to watch out for in your relationship, then grab your snacks, get comfy, and let's get started. All right, let's start with the early warning signs, the subtle hints that something might be brewing beneath the surface. You know, those little things that make you tilt your head like a confused puppy, wondering if you're imagining things. First up, we have the classic case of the disappearing act. Has your partner suddenly become as elusive as a squirrel in a nut factory? One moment they're there, the next they're gone. I'm talking about those moments when they used to be glued to your side, but now they're always busy or have to work late. It's like they've developed a sudden passion for overtime, and when you try to make plans, it's like nailing jelly to a tree. Impossible. Every attempt is met with a new excuse. They're either booked, busy, or just plain unavailable. It's as if their calendar has become a fortress of solitude. Now, I'm not saying that a little space is a bad thing, but if your partner's gone more often than your leftovers after a Thanksgiving feast, it might be time to raise an eyebrow. Consistent absence can be a red flag. And speaking of eyebrows, let's talk about defensiveness. You know, that knee-jerk reaction when you ask a simple question like, "Honey, where were you?" And they practically jump out of their skin, sputtering excuses like a broken sprinkler. It's as if you've asked them to solve a complex math problem on the spot. Suddenly, a simple question turns into an interrogation, and you're left feeling like you just accused them of stealing the Hope Diamond. The overreaction can be quite telling, and if that wasn't enough, let's not forget about the art of avoiding conversations. You try to bring up something important, and they're suddenly very interested in the pattern on the ceiling or the fascinating life cycle of a dust bunny. Anything to avoid the topic at hand. They'll change the subject faster than a chameleon in a disco, leaving you feeling like you're talking to a brick wall wearing noise-canceling headphones. It's frustrating and disheartening. So, my friends, if your partner starts exhibiting these early warning signs, don't ignore them. Pay attention and trust your instincts. Okay, so we've tackled the early warning signs. But what happens when things escalate? What happens when those small issues snowball into something much bigger and more daunting? Well, my friends, that's when we enter the treacherous territory of the communication breakdown. It's a place where misunderstandings thrive and connections start to fray. Remember those heart-to-heart conversations you used to have? The ones where you could talk about anything and everything? Those moments of genuine connection and understanding? Yeah, those might become as rare as a unicorn sighting. You might find yourself longing for those deep discussions that now seem like a distant memory. Instead, you'll be swimming in a sea of vague answers, one-word replies, and enough unanswered texts to make you question if your phone is broken. It's a frustrating and isolating experience. It's like they've suddenly taken a vow of silence, only communicating through grunts and sighs. The silence can be deafening and the lack of meaningful interaction disheartening. And let's not forget about the dreaded phone addiction. The phone becomes a barrier, a wall that separates you from your partner. Suddenly, their phone becomes their new best friend, surgically attached to their hand at all times. It's like they're living in a different world, one that you're not a part of. They're constantly texting, scrolling, and whispering sweet nothings into the receiver, but never to you. The distance grows with every silent moment, and when you dare to ask who they're talking to, you're met with a dismissive, "Oh, it's just work," or the ever so convincing, "Don't worry about it." The lack of transparency can be infuriating. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the quantity of communication, it's about the quality. The depth and substance of your conversations matter. Remember those deep, meaningful conversations I mentioned earlier? Well, those might be replaced with superficial chit-chat about the weather or the latest cat video on YouTube. It's a stark contrast to what you once had. So if you find yourself constantly questioning your partner's whereabouts, wondering who they're talking to, or feeling like you're living with a stranger, It's time to pay attention. These feelings are significant and shouldn't be ignored. The communication breakdown is a major red flag, and ignoring it will only lead to more frustration and heartache down the road. It's crucial to address these issues head-on before they become insurmountable. All right, buckle up because we're about to enter the twilight zone of relationships, the mystery of missing time. This is where things get really interesting, and by interesting, I mean potentially suspicious. You know how they say time flies when you're having fun? Well, time also seems to vanish into thin air when someone's got something to hide. Suddenly, your partner's schedule becomes more mysterious than the Bermuda Triangle. They're always working late, meeting friends, or stuck in traffic. And you're left wondering if they've secretly joined a traveling circus or become a part-time superhero. But here's the thing. It's not just about the unexplained absences. It's about the last-minute cancellations and the vague excuses that would make even a used car salesman blush. You had plans for a romantic dinner, but suddenly they're double-booked with a work emergency. And don't even get me started on the infamous "I'm not feeling well" excuse. Suddenly they're glued to their phone or laptop, whispering in hushed tones and frantically closing tabs when you walk by. So if you find yourself constantly piecing together your partner's whereabouts like a detective solving a missing person case, it's time to face the music. The mystery of missing time is a major red flag, and ignoring it will only lead to more questions, doubts, and sleepless nights spent wondering what they're really up to. Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're about to enter the realm of discrepancies and contradictions, where nothing is as it seems and your partner's stories unravel faster than a cheap sweater. This is where those little white lies, the ones they told to protect you or avoid a fight, start to pile up like dirty laundry. Remember that time they said they were working late, but their social media told a different story? Or how about that business trip that suspiciously coincided with their ex's birthday weekend? Yeah, those are the kind of discrepancies that can make you question everything you thought you knew. It's like they're living in a parallel universe where the truth is as fluid as their ever-changing stories. And let's not forget about the classic case of selective memory. They'll remember every detail of their favorite sports team's victory, but conveniently forget the promises they made to you yesterday. And when you try to confront them about these inconsistencies, they'll either deny, deflect, or turn it around on you, making you feel like you're the crazy one for even questioning them. But here's the thing, you're not crazy. You're simply noticing the cracks in their carefully constructed facade. And those cracks, my friends, are screaming red flags. Well, we've reached the final chapter, the aftermath of dealing with suspicions. This is where the real work begins, and it's often the hardest part of the journey. And let me tell you, it's not always pretty. The emotional toll can be overwhelming. Suspecting your partner of hiding something can be emotionally draining, like running a marathon with a backpack full of bricks. Every step feels heavier than the last. It can consume your thoughts, keep you up at night, and turn you into that suspicious-looking person with bloodshot eyes and a permanent frown. The constant worry can be exhausting. But here's the thing. You don't have to go through this alone. Support is crucial during these times. The first step is to acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to feel hurt, confused, or even angry. Don't try to brush them under the rug or pretend like everything's fine when it's not. Ignoring the problem won't make it go away. Talk to someone you trust, whether it's a friend, family member, therapist, or even your pet goldfish. They're surprisingly good listeners. Sharing your feelings can provide relief and perspective. Once you've acknowledged your feelings, it's time to communicate with your partner. Open and honest dialogue is key. And no, I don't mean confronting them with a PowerPoint presentation of their suspicious behavior. Humor can help, but it's not the solution here. Approach the conversation with calmness, honesty, and a willingness to listen. This sets the stage for a productive discussion. Remember, communication is a two-way street. Both parties need to be heard and understood. It's not about accusing them or putting them on the defensive. It's about expressing your concerns and giving them a chance to explain themselves. This can lead to mutual understanding. And if their explanation leaves you with more questions than answers, or if they continue to deny and deflect, then it might be time to reevaluate the relationship. Trust is fundamental. Remember, you deserve to be with someone who is honest, trustworthy, and respectful of your feelings. Your well-being matters. Don't settle for anything less. You have the right to a relationship that brings you peace and happiness. Well, there you have it, folks. We've covered the red flags, the communication breakdowns, the missing time, the discrepancies, and the aftermath of dealing with suspicions. It's been a wild ride, but I hope you found it helpful and maybe even a little bit entertaining. Remember, relationships can be tricky, and sometimes even the best of us miss the warning signs. But by being aware of the red flags and trusting your gut, you can save yourself a lot of heartache and drama. So the next time you find yourself questioning your partner's behavior, don't ignore those gut feelings. Until next time, stay safe, stay informed, and keep those relationships healthy.